You all, we are not licensed professionals. You know, we are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, you know, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again.
Another episode of the Friendship University.
Is this the Love Below?
Anyway, welcome to the Friendship University podcast. I'm Miki. I'm joined by my
highest on home V103. I was giving bedtime.
I was trying to give sensual zen, but you ruined it.
You were giving my bad. Okay, let's rewind. Come on. Let's go back.
Well,
with enthusiasm. You have the charm.
You see, I was in the flow, and now you fucked me up.
I'm so sorry.
What up, y'all? Welcome to the Friendship University podcast. This is Malik. I'm sorry. See, I fucked it up. I can't tell people my real name, even though people know my real name. And I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Kristen. Yes, my name is Malik. Miki Malik, that is my name. I'm sure you guys probably put two and two together by now.
If you heard it, it's probably slipped out once or twice.
I'm sure it has.
Count yourself lucky to hear it again, because we're still going to call him Miki, because he don't want y'all finding him. But,
it's not so much that I care about people finding me. It's just that, like, I guess I do care about people finding me. It's like, I want to have all the parts that come along with being famous minus the part of being famous. Like, I want to be like Sia. Like, no one knows what I look like. Like, I can go to Walmart or Target and the people wouldn't know it's me. But, like, you still know, like, who I am.
Well, first, I get what you're saying, but you don't want to be like Sia, girl. Some stuff just came out about her.
What? For real?
That young dancer she had in her video. It wasn't good. It was giving very much old buddy from The Flash.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well. But Dead Mouse.
Take back what I said.
Or
Marshmallow, maybe.
No. You can be like a
who else will be showing their face like that? Y'all get the point. Long story short, I don't want people to know who I am, but I want to be able to go to Target and still get my Sierra V, SA cleanser, my moisturizer, lotion without being bum rushed. I know Beyonce does that, but Beyonce probably just buys out the Target and goes.
Absolutely. I want to be like Rihanna does it, but I want to be like not in the essence of an influencer, but like well enough known to where you're like doing your thing, getting paid, and you go out and a few people may recognize you, may ask for a photo, but they ain't bum rush you like they gonna bum rush like a Rihanna or a Beyonce.
Because then they gonna have me on
even an Usher.
TikTok or Instagram or whatever talking about, oh my God, Miki out here picking his nose, or he picked a wedgie or some shit. I don't need that kind of pressure in my life. I don't need the idea of like I might be on camera right now. Don't do anything embarrassing.
If this podcast is gonna go anywhere where we want it to go, anywhere near where we want it to go, there's no way, shape, or form you're gonna be able to ever go out and nobody is ever gonna recognize you again.
I guess I'll have to keep changing my face.
It'll just have to be like
I'll keep getting different haircuts and hair colors and stuff.
Podcasters are. You want to think about it like even as big as Crystal and Kid Fury are, there are situations where if they were in specific cities or they did certain things, they wouldn't get bum rushed.
That's true. I guess for podcasters, unless you go to our social medias, follow.
And people are
we're pretty much just like disembodied voices, honestly.
I felt I picture my head just floating in the ambient. Speaking into
We're just two ghosts. We're just two ghosts with microphones. Bitch, I'm a ghost.
Yeah, I think I can't call what's gonna happen. Obviously, Crystal and Kid Fury are way bigger than they used to be, so they probably can't do the everyday things that they used to. But there are podcasters I know who are still successful, and
But it's also like another thing I'm really passionate about, which is DJing, would literally require me to be in front of a bunch of people all the time. And I tried the mask thing. I did try to wear a mask, like a little like COVID mask. I thought I was doing something. Shout out to Io, who I got the mask from. But it's really hard to breathe in it.
When you're dancing and up there, opera kind of situation.
Ooh, okay, like one little eye covered. Okay, that might be something. I mean, who knows? We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll like a Batman mask on. But yep, welcome to another week of the Friendship University podcast. I skipped last week, hence why there was no episode released.
There was an episode. It was a solo episode.
Never mind.
I see you don't
Shut
listen
me the fuck
you're
up.
Not on.
No, funny thing is, I listened to your solo episode last time. I just didn't know you released one.
It was last minute. It was just kind of like we waited. Mickey has a life, so he had things that he had to do.
I do have a confession, though. I do have a hard confession for you. When we first started this podcast, I would listen to every episode, and I would skip every one of your bits. Because I needed to see what I sounded like. I need to make sure that I sounded good. I was like, okay, like, fuck Kristen. I need to make sure that I don't sound out of pocket a while. Not anymore though. Now I listen to the whole thing. But
I'm the complete opposite. I don't listen at all. I don't know what be going on in these episodes. You get what you get. I trust you. I trust the producer. I trust y'all ain't gonna have me. I mean, the producer mainly because they are the ones who have the ability to make sure that I'm not out here getting canceled.
I mean, luckily, it came in handy the first few times. Because technical issues and stuff.
So I've done like radio stuff before, and like even singing on the Prairie Team stuff. I just have never been someone, and I know I have to get out of that because of the industries I want to go into. I need to be able to listen to myself, but I just am like not interested. No, I don't dislike my voice. Been told I have a good radio voice, but I just be like. It's in the. I'm the kind of person who makes art and I just put it out there and I'm like, it's out there now. It's what it is. Really? There ain't no changing it. I mean, it's out there now. I'm not gonna change it, so it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
I don't have that like. I don't want to like change it, but I will say like I have like a. Maybe it's a vanity, maybe it's a little bit of pride, I don't know. But anytime I have released something, maybe like a set or a video or something, I do have a habit of watching it and looking at it over and over and over again, or listening to it over and over and over again. Like there are certain episodes of our podcast that I enjoy so much that I'm like, I want to listen to that again. I want to check that out again. So I am that way where like, I'm not the kind of person who posts something and forgets about it. I'm the kind of person who will look back at the post and be like, I did that shit. Like, I look at the videos of me DJing in Spain like it was yesterday.
I'll like to a minuscule nuance look at a photo or a video of my art that I'm supposed to be doing, which is someone else, and I'm like critiquing that and I'm editing that. But then I get to a certain point where I'm like, you know what? It's done. I'm gonna put it out. It's going to be, I will say the first time I did hear a majority of our episodes is when I did the recap last year. And I was like, oh, this is actually really good. We're on to something. So maybe I'll start listening. I'd listen for like sound bites and stuff like that. And then I'll hear something that you say or I say. And I'm like, oh, I forgot we said that. And the conversation is just like so organic and so like it's not quick, but it feels so quick that you don't really have time to digest what was talked about. So I forget all the time what was said.
Right.
When we discuss these topics. But yeah, with the podcast, I'm like, you know what? It's out there. I can't do anything about it. So it is what it is. But I appreciate you for listening. That is dedication. And skill.
Yeah, so. Also the solo episodes are relatively new. Like, we just got into that. Don't worry, a solo episode will be coming from me eventually one day, maybe perhaps.
Yeah, I think
we'll see.
We're going to start having guests, and I I have some ideas for some solo episodes that you could do. I think that would really be really fun and really easy for you to navigate conversationally by yourself. So, yeah, it was just a thought because I was like, well, there are solo podcasts that I do listen to, and because mine, I don't know if every single one is going to be kind of informationally based. I do like to give information, so it's just been natural to do that. But it could be anything. We got some things coming for you all. It's about to be another year
Of the podcast or of the calendar year?
Of the calendar year, but close.
Okay, I was like, didn't we just celebrate a year? But yeah,
We
you know,
did,
either way,
summer.
but yeah, no, yeah, 2023 is almost over, which is insane.
We are close. We're close to 100 episodes.
Are we?
We're like
What are we
over
at
the
now?
halfway mark.
I'm gonna check our stuff out.
I think we may be at like 60 something.
Oh,
So
well, shout out to us.
We're over the hump.
Shout out
About
to us.
almost 100 episodes. We're gonna do something real big for the 100th. And by that time, we better have 100,000 followers. So
Put it in the universe.
Stop playing with us. But yes, I'm so glad to have you back. You know, it's never the same when you're gone. Never the same again. How was your week?
Another pretty chill, quiet week. Oh, well, I guess it was still chill but quiet. But I did a few different things. I know you and I have spent some time together with our mutual friend. So did that. Video games per usual. I am now officially 1 week out. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm 4 days out of Spider-Man 2. Can't wait. Very excited for that to consume my life. It's been such a long time coming, but of course, I've been filling my time with Baldur's Gate. I bought Cyberpunk 2077, which was on sale.
You did?
I did. Apparently they fixed it. Apparently they did a lot of work on it to make it better. Because when it first came out, for those of you who don't know, it was a hot mess express. Like, it was barely playable, like very buggy. A lot of stuff they promised didn't release with it, which unfortunately, it's kind of the state of a lot of AAA game developers these days.
Keanu Reeves actually released The Matrix 19.
Right, surely. Fucked it up. But, yeah, a lot of AAA game people these days be releasing unfinished games to be patching it later, which, I have my own 2 cents on, but they finally fixed it, added a bunch of stuff. Apparently, it's really good, so I've been playing that. It's a first-person shooter. I'm not typically a first-person shooter kind of person because it gives me a headache. It makes me feel dizzy.
Oh, that's why you really don't play like
I don't play like Call of Duties and stuff like that. Yeah. I can play it in short bits and have a good time, but if I play it too long, I start to feel like dizzy and have a headache. I think it's just like something's odd about looking through the eyes of someone else.
I'm not a first person shooter either.
Right.
Like, if I'm gonna play a game that
I like shooters.
I was gonna say if I play a game that calls for that kind of activity, it has to be something like a God of War. You can't
right.
Be like, it has
I have to be behind the character, right? Yeah. I'm also more of a single player game person anyway, usually speaking. But yeah, so usual Baldur's Gate. I actually thought I had beat the game.
I was about to say you should be close.
Plot twist, I did not beat the game. There's multiple acts in the game. And I had just beat Act 2. So now I'm on Act 3, which I don't know if there's a 4th act or not, but I feel like there's so much more left for me to do.
I don't think they're going to tell you.
So that game's taking up so much time. But anyway, but I'm doing pretty good outside of that. I also spent the last week-ish, or probably a few days, just kind of focusing on what I want my life to look like in the next, insert amount of time. Not so much like a time frame, but like what I really want for myself and like what's like the next year or so going to look like as far as like what I'm going to do to like get closer to those things. So I've been studying a bit more about music production, been reading a lot how to use different programs and stuff like that. I'm actually probably going to be investing in some producing software here relatively soon. I also took a random interest in mobile videography. Like, I've always been a big picture taker with my phone. I love taking pictures with my phone. But I be watching people on YouTube, like MKBHD, shout out to you.
Oh, yeah.
Black creator, tech creator on YouTube. Love that guy. Would love to meet him in person one day. Literally been watching him since he first came out when I was like in high school.
I was about to say.
Or maybe even middle school. I don't remember when he came out.
I think he came out when I was in. I'll say one of the OG YouTubers for sure, because in college YouTube was still up and coming, and I remember seeing him.
Shout out to him. Great. Seriously, I love all his videos. But I've been watching his videos and like other tech YouTubers and stuff like that. And like they'd be doing this stuff with like their iPhone and stuff. So I was like, I really want to learn how to make like some really like nice like I don't know what I'm really gonna do with it. Maybe like some like after videos for like, trips we take or like festivals we go to or just some random stuff. I don't plan on making it like a career. Probably just something I do for fun,
You could be an
But
aesthetic though. People love a vibe.
okay, so yeah, just learning how to take like B-roll footage and like
cool.
what different settings in the iPhone do, like what
You need to
what
learn so we can
frame
shoot
rates
our-
are and stuff.
Okay,
I
so-
was just like, wow, I'm learning so much. So
we can shoot our movie.
right, Beyonce has a movie. I want a movie. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been
Not
up to.
Beyonce has a movie. Now I want a movie.
But
y'all gonna be crying in there like they doing for the Eras.
the
They
Air
are
Store,
balling.
sobbing.
I'm talking about in full. I can't even imagine what's in the film.
I'm pretty sure it's
But
just the
they're just
concert. I don't know,
sobbing.
but shout out to the Twizzler fans because y'all are really getting y'all's. Well, the Twizzlers and the Beehives are really getting their dues this year.
Twizzlers. I was like, did she get a brand deal with Twizzlers?
The Swifties, that's what they're called. Also, the Swifties and the Beehives, we came together in a moment of solidarity this week when both these iconic economic powerhouses of women came together and Beyonce showed face and was like, listen, the tea was never real. Okay.
She's been in support of Taylor.
Always. Back in the day,
in front of the camera at least since Kanye.
Since Dr. Coon himself was like, Beyonce deserves this. And Beyonce was like, I do deserve this, but let this white girl have her moment. But anyway, so yeah, I'm doing good.
To be alive.
Looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to a wedding for a close friend of mine from grade school. Shout out to you, Chris and Brandy. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
It's really weird actually how they met. I think they met on Tinder, but long story short, I knew Chris from middle school and high school. We were part of like the same friend group. He's a good friend of mine. And then I knew Brandy from someone I actually dated, or not dated. We talked briefly, so it was a friend of a friend kind of situation. Brandy did not go to me and Chris's school. Like, she went to a completely separate school. So there was no way in my mind that I think these two individuals would ever meet each other. But through the Tinderverse, they got together.
I know a lot of people who met on online dating, and they are now married and have beautiful families, and they are seemingly happy. I'm
excited for them. So like, it was very weird at first. I was like, how do you even know each other? Like, how did this happen? But they've been together for quite a few years. I love them both. Very excited for them. So congrats to you both. Next week I start my new career or job. In
a different career path.
In a different career path. Sure, totally. So yeah, good things coming. Good things on the way. How about you? How was your past week?
Good. Busy. I'm not the late night friend anymore. Like, I haven't been for a while, but I'm really not. Like, maybe in the house if we're doing like a movie-thon kind of thing. But being out late, I'm like the Sunday farmers market friend now.
Listen, like people say with age, like you slow down and stuff like that. That's kind of true. Like, I know people were like, well, age is but a number and yada yada. I mean, that's true. Age to an extent is nothing but a number. But when you get to these like older 20s into your 30s, 40s, you want to be at the house with a cup of wine, watching your favorite TV show.
And it's like, it's not that I've never not been the farmer's market friend or the coffee shop friend. It's just now, if I have to choose, I'm going to choose that instead of going out. Still love a good show. Still have a lot of shows on the docket. Thinking about them is immediately making me tired. Just off I want to go to sleep. I'm thinking about everything I have to do this week, next week, and the week following. And I could actually curl up into a weighted blanket and not wake up until December. So
I wish we had like animals. That'd be nice.
I'm thinking about it's making me immediately tired, but I'm excited. There are just a lot of moving parts, a lot of just projects happening, and they're things that I pray for. So I'm grateful. It's just time to like put the work in. So
I mean, shout out to you though. I mean, I feel like it's important to have like variety in what you're doing. People who go out like every single weekend give me red flag. Like, what are you hiding from? Like, what are you
really
running from?
giving? Why don't you want to be at the house?
Like, what's wrong? Like, what's something like if you go out every
especially
single
if you pay
weekend,
rent? Why don't you want to be at the house that you pay rent in or mortgage?
I'm confused. Because me, when I went out every weekend, I was running from demons. Okay, like I was not trying to be with my ops at the house. Okay, if I wasn't working, I was sleeping. If I wasn't sleeping, I was at the club.
Walk on by.
Now I ain't fighting demons, and I'm like, damn, I
now
love being home.
Now you're like, golly, I'm free. I just like really be peaceful. I like myself. I like being in my space. I like being with myself, my thoughts. Yeah, it's really giving.
You're trying to suppress something.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's also makes it more fun when you have things to look forward to. Like, when you do the same thing every weekend. Like, we're going to the club this weekend. We're going to get drinks this weekend. Like, girl, we've done that for the past 32 freaking weekends. Can we do anything else? Bottomless mimosas are fun and all, but can we do something else? A park day? Can we go to a paint and sip? Can we do anything else? But
a walk of the park.
Something.
Can we ride bikes? Maybe take a skateboarding class. Indoor skydiving.
Anything.
They do indoor Jenga. They have the floor is lava thing at main event now, where you just have to jump on the tiles and make sure go-karting.
This is why I love our friendship,
patches.
or specifically our friend group, because we find interesting things to do. I'm not saying other friends don't find interesting things to do, but we're not like let's just go out to dinner tonight. We're like let's go karting, let's go mini golfing, let's go take a random trip to, I don't know, Myrtle Beach or something.
Hey,
I
found a museum in North Carolina. Let's just
go. Yeah, that's why I love our friend group. We definitely like to keep it spicy.
Sure.
We like to keep it interesting.
Absolutely. I appreciate that as well.
But we also know how to turn down and sit on this couch for, 10 hours and not move.
Okay, so we're just gonna binge the show tonight. Got it. Appreciate it. Love you so much.
Love you so much.
Like
we painted pumpkins as well. Okay.
We did paint pumpkins.
The intention was to paint pumpkins.
All right, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to that because I'm gonna tell y'all how Mickey and the whole group tried to ruin my Friday the 13th by trying to make me watch Serial Mom. Now, shout out to Suzanne Summer. She is in Serial Mom. Condolences to you. She passed away.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She's also known as one of the main actresses for Three's Company. I personally came to love her in Step by Step, Day by Day. This is when they used to really put effort into the intro to those shows. I really miss it. But yes, she passed away, and they tried to this was before she passed away, and they tried to make me watch on Friday the 13th Serial Mom.
Because I never seen it.
You didn't say that. I thought you saw it.
No, I never saw it, and I said that Rajay, that's his favorite movie. He's seen it. I haven't seen it.
We had all seen. I thought you had saw it already.
Mm-mm.
Oh, dang. Okay, well, tell him we'll watch it in her memory, in her honor. But since we're here now with pop culture, Sexy Red is pregnant.
Good for her. Congratulations.
Good for her.
Oh.
Congratulations. I'm not mad at it.
Should I not be congratulating her?
No, you know what? Hey, if that's what you want.
Does she not want to be pregnant?
She said, I don't know. She has 2 baby daddies in jail with 1 baby already, so I don't know how that's supposed to work. I'm confused.
So am I.
Niggas in jail got access to stuff now, right? Like phones, tablets. I saw a whole get ready with me sleep MSA. What do you call it? MSR? MSAR? ASMR? With a nigga in jail. He just propped the phone up and went to sleep.
I don't know how these niggas be getting phones in jail so easily.
Got a lot of views. Probably made a lot of money for his commissary. And so I'm sure he's probably seen she's pregnant. I'm sure he's also probably seen that she's claiming 2 people to be the baby daddy, but with 1 baby. Now she's pregnant again. I don't even know if it's the man. So she had a scene leaked.
Her sex scene, yeah.
Yes.
Looked mediocre. I've seen it.
We don't know if it's him, if we were actually watching live conception on air.
Because there definitely was no protection on there.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I want to tell y'all this. I know we all young once, and we just really don't conceptualize things living on forever in this day and age. If the Negro is snapping pictures of you when you asleep, don't let him pull out a phone while y'all having sex. Because if he posts the photo of you sleep, what do you think he gonna do with the photo of y'all having sex? Because we don't know how much money that... He probably made a little bit of money off of that photo of her being asleep, leaking that. So
I have a strictly no filming policy.
First of all...
If you gonna film, it will be faceless. No tattoos, no face, no indistinguishable marks.
Okay, first of all, you take a picture of me when I'm sleeping, post it to the World Wide Web.
Oh, we're fighting.
Stevie Wonder's internet. I'll never sleep around you again. You'll never get the chance to disrespect me again.
Ever. I
will be wide awake. Eyes on saw. Okay? Propped open. I got what I came here to get, and now I'm leaving. So, shout out to her. She seems happy.
Congratulations.
She's going on a tour.
With the baby. You know what? Who am I to say? Because Miss Amelie Lands, DJ Techno Queen, was out here with her baby.
She was.
And still is.
I think she got like 12 stops. It starts in a couple of weeks. And we'll just see what happens. I mean, she's been out of town thugging with her rounds, I guess.
Coochie pink.
Booty hole.
Brown.
So,
congratulations, Miss Sexy Red. Even though I'm fully convinced you're an industry plant, because where the fuck did you come from?
You know, we want to think that about a lot of people, but
because where are these people coming from? Who is Ice Spice? Who the hell is Ice Spice?
What I'm realizing is some of it is just... It's just the times. So we kind of forget the quote unquote one hit wonders of our day because they didn't get so much press because social media didn't exist, right? But now you have people who have access to kind of try to keep themselves relevant, but they won't stay relevant. I'm not saying any of these girlies won't. I'm saying a lot of the people we're seeing now, think about all the people we saw during the pandemic, all the people who were like blowing up. Blueface blew up off of an offbeat song, and the only reason he's now stayed relevant is because he is a sick, twisted monster.
You know people like that. So.
Exactly. So we don't know where these people are going to go. We have I'll dare call it luxury of getting the art of someone who wasn't necessarily supposed to be in the industry forever and not having to ever deal with them again.
That is pretty nice sometimes.
But today, they're just here. So, and everybody's all on the whole, I'm looking for the real, I just want the real. So then everybody's saying Sexy Red is just so real and so real and so real. That's what y'all want.
Which this is no shade to these people. It's just like, I feel like they just come out of nowhere and I'm like, wait, where did you even come from? Like, where you released one song and now you're like the hottest girl on the scene. Like, what happened?
And it's easy to think that when you have people like I'll even say I grew up on hip hop. I grew up on all genres, but I've loved hip hop. I was on a hip hop congress in college, so like we did national conventions. We met all kinds of hip hop artists. Hip hop is very different now. I won't say I'm as attached or involved in it as I was back then. But I know some of the young girlies, and you look at some people like you had a Lola Brooks who blew up on that Don't Play With It, and now how did Sexy Red get a tour before her? But it could be anything. It could be your backing, it could be your management, because like I'm going to see Flo Milli in a couple of months, and I feel like this is her first tour. And she been put out way more content, way better content in my opinion than Ice Spice or Sexy Red. But it's just about your backing. Sexy Red got the backing of Drake. Off the rip, that means something in the industry. Oh, this is a cash cow. This is people we can make money off of. And you're not thinking in your mind like, they just want to make money off of me. You're thinking, oh, they actually think I can do this. Now, Sexy Red has been honest in saying she just go into the studio and say whatever she wants.
I believe it.
She not.
Because
She ain't
where's
saying.
Ski? Who came up with that? Okay, that had to be something she was walking into this thing
So
and
she's
said.
not trying to
Ski-yee.
act like she's sitting down and putting all of this kind of like fervor and time into the music that she's making, but
Because it took Beyonce like 8 years to write Renaissance or something like that. Sexy Red walked in,
But
took a
that's
sip of her Coke and said, "Ski ye," and walked out.
But see, that goes back to the time because there are people who now reverence Beyonce as never having been anything else but Beyonce. Never a Destiny's Child, never a girl group member, never a... There were many people in that crowd who didn't know who she was representing during Tia and Tamara. So it's just like, we're just in a different day and age, I'll say that. And that kind of ties into this next thing because I know you've seen that we're all still in the group chat with Will and Jada.
Ooh, the red table talk of
It's
deception.
It's talking. The red table is talking.
It's
And
never
it won't
stopped.
stop.
It won't stop.
And it won't stop.
You know what's really funny that you bring this up? Because if you didn't bring it up now, I was going to bring it up during the friendship highlight.
Please don't tell me you're going to talk about the friendship I think you're going to talk about.
Of course, the friendship that has gone to stand the test of time, who will stand
You know
the
what?
death of a whole human being.
We'll circle back around because I only have... We will come back to that. I'm going to put a pin in that. We'll talk about something else. We'll talk about something a little bit more uplifting. I don't know if you know who Joey Badass is. He's a rapper. He just unveiled a free mentorship program for Black and Puerto Rican men called ImpactMEN, capital MENtorship. So he's going to be partnering young men with... He's going to be using his connects in the industry because he's done music, he's done television, he was on Grownish, he's done a couple of other things. He's gonna be using his connects to get people in certain industries to mentor young Black and Puerto Rican men who desire to go into those same industries. And he's gonna be doing it for free.
Oh, very nice. Please tag those resources in the description box, whatever, for our followers and whatnot. But that's really cool. I love that someone is actually putting the ladder back down. A lot of people like to pull the ladder right up behind them. So shout out to that. I love hearing that, these young individuals are getting some mentorship of how to be in the, the industry, who want to break in that industry. As someone who is into music and wants to break into a music career one day, I do find it very challenging and very daunting to think about the different ways of how to get into the scene. Like, who do I talk to? Who do I network with? How do I market myself? Where do I post? When should I post? How should I post? Blah, 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 blah. How do I get my tracks in front of the right people?
Just need a couple of bread
right. Just a little something to, get the ball rolling.
Mentorship is so important.
Yeah, I'm not saying everybody needs a mentor, but I would say if it is something you're interested in, I would definitely say, put some effort into finding someone who can mentor you in the fields and interests that you have. It can definitely be impactful. But yeah, shout out to, what's his name again?
Joey Badass.
Joey Badass. I like your name, Mr. Badass.
I'm going to say this. Somebody said in the comments when he posted about it, it's giving Joey good ass.
Come on, Miss Good Ass.
I thought that was hilarious when I saw it. I'm trying to think about a song that you would know. And honestly...
Is this a millennial guy? Is he young?
He's not that young. Joey Badass may be in his late 20s.
He sounds like a Twitch streamer or something.
No, he's like... Let me see if this is a song.
Oh, okay. He was in that song with XXX Extensions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this. Okay, I don't want to get
yeah, well, shout out to Mr.
Badass. Demonetized or sued, so can only play up to 3 seconds of that, I believe, or 30. I don't know. But yes, some good news for the people. Shaq is still in his bag.
Always.
Shaquille O'Neal.
DJ Diesel.
I can't believe that's the music he played. That's another story. He, along with Allen Iverson, have been named president and vice president, respectively, of Reebok's basketball division.
Very nice. Congratulations to
So
both of
more
them.
money, more power.
You say Reeboks?
Reeboks. Yeah, people wear Reeboks now. So I'll say this because I just saw.
This whole company.
I just saw this, and I was like, "This is so true." Because I don't know if there was an uproar that was happening because pre-pandemic, Black people started wearing New Balances again. I remember because I was looking at some New Balances. I was like, "Oh, they
definitely were.
Designs
We brought
are getting
them
a little
back.
bit of fire." It kind of came up. And so, like, recently they did a really huge collaboration with someone. I can't remember. And the price skyrocketed. And, like, so all the Black people were like, we can revive anything.
Crocs, for
we
example.
Was out here.
What?
Crocs!
I've tried to buy Crocs like 3 times, and I just can't do it.
I remember when I was working in the restaurant industry, and I had bought Crocs. And I was wearing them because they were the most comfortable restaurant shoe at that time. They were super expensive. Well, they weren't that expensive, actually.
They're expensive for what they are. They're damn near $70 for this foam non-support.
This was like 10 years ago at this point. I was wearing them. They were expensive for the fact that I knew that they were going to get dirty. But I was like, they're so comfortable. I remember seeing nurses wearing them, all kinds of stuff. And now niggas just throw on socks and Crocs like they socks and Nike slides.
Y'all gonna have fucked up feet when y'all get older. No support. Listen, I think Crocs are for geriatrics and nurses.
They're good. I like the aesthetic. It depends on how you dress. The way I dress doesn't fit for Crocs. So that's why I don't wear them that often. But I get why people wear them. And there are some designers who are making more, I guess, comfortable.
I guess. All I know is I saw Crocs with like Ugg fur in it the other day, and I was like, we have to stop.
Oh, that ain't new, girl. They was doing the Ugg fur when I was at a PWI.
We simply must stop.
7-8 years ago, the girlies were waiting for the cold bris for the jean skirt. Either the Ugg boot or the Croc with the fur, and then
the time's upon us. They're outside right now.
What's somebody's name? So we got Salehi Denbury, who I will say his Crocs feel a little bit different than regular Crocs. I don't know if it's a little bit more support or if it's the design, is it the aerodynamics of it? I don't know. But
all right, Sway Lee, we see you. Caught up in the spot. Sorry, I love that song. Shout out to Chun-Li. Pinnacle Nicki Minaj song.
Girl, so I'm not a barb, but Pink Friday is supposed to be dropping. Pink Friday 2 is supposed to be dropping in November. I'm gonna be in the number for the concert because whether I want to admit it or not, that was a pivotal time in my young adulthood, and so apparently every Friday since she announced the dropping of that album, she's been dropping unreleased songs from Pink Friday 1.
For real?
Yes. On I guess she still has Queen Radio. I didn't know she still had Queen Radio.
She does, yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to an episode of Queen Radio, and there's no shade to Nicki Minaj, because I know you will actively try to shoot me if I say something bad about you. I have nothing bad to say about you at all. To be honest, I don't be checking for you, but it's not because I don't like you. It's just because I don't check in for celebrities like that. But anyway, moving on. I listened to an episode of Queen Radio the other day, and I don't know if she'd be doing like salvia or like ketamine on the podcast. I didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. She was just saying words, and I was like, "What are you? What are you talking about? What are we talking about?"
I haven't listened to a whole episode of Queen Radio yet. I try to give it a listen just for the culture because I like to be informed. I will listen to things that I don't normally listen to so that I know a little bit more about them. I don't know, but she's been dropping out. She's been dropping tracks, and it's getting people excited. I don't know if she's strategically doing this every Friday till the Pink Friday 2 comes out or whatever. Because I think Pink Friday 2 doesn't come out till after Thanksgiving, maybe.
It's sometime in November. It's in November, but
it's got a few weeks, so I don't know how many tracks she got in the arsenal. It doesn't have to stay with Pink Friday 1. I don't know, but yes, good times for good people. Okay, we'll end the pop culture segment with this. We're going to circle back around.
Back to the red table talk of deception.
The red table talk that talks like the big comfy couch. It just doesn't stop. So, I'll say this. I just hope... Okay, I know she put out a memoir. So, it's going to be juice. It's going to just be juice galore. People read memoirs to get the tea, for lack of a better term. They want to know what you've never talked about. This is your time to spill all the beans. So, all of that is happening. The recent clip I just saw of her is her, and I don't know how recent it is in comparison to the other clips we've seen, but she was doing an interview where she was pretty much talking about how her and Will don't plan on getting divorced. They're still very much in the healing journey. They're still like, she doesn't want to divorce him. She came into this marriage with certain expectations. She didn't know what marriage was, blah, blah, blah. So they're just trying to work through all that. So I'm just hoping that they both have the pure intentions and want to heal and get to a place where they can be whatever they want to be to one another. And sometimes that means when you heal, you realize you don't want to be with that person. And that's okay. So if that is what happens, I just want them to both be honest and pure enough and strong enough to say like, hey, this is what I want or this is what I don't want.
All I know is that she was so confused when Will said, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking
I
mouth."
saw
and
that.
She was like, "Who?
A wife?
She must be talking about Margot Robbie because
Why?
it can't be me."
And I'm thinking in my mind, this man just got up on the Oscar stage and slapped the man. He's talking about wife. We ain't called each other that in 7 years. I'll say this, because I had to write this down because I just watched, Kevin on Stage had a really great point about this. He made a post and he was pretty much highlighting all the impressions in the View post that all of this got. It was one blog in particular. I won't name it because I don't want to give you any more impressions, but they were just getting all this coverage, all this traction, and yes, they were grabbing the messiest part of the memoir, which is what normal blogs do, but it was garnering traction like nothing else they had ever done. Like, they were doing hundreds of millions of views, which indicated that we, as in the world, did not want to be left out of the group chat. We, in fact, were feeding the machines necessary to make this blow up consistently. The reposting, the commenting, all of that, talking about it, etc., is what was blowing it up. And so he was just saying, like, if we really didn't want it to be as big, we would have steered away from it. And now I have a personal, I have a personal theory about social media. I'm not going to share that theory now, but I will say the internet, especially Twitter, Twitter is not the place where you want to say that me and my husband go through it sometimes, but every morning we like to take time and spend in our garden and talk and have coffee every morning. Y'all niggas proved that a while ago, that when that lady said that her and her husband go into their garden every morning and have coffee, that y'all was not here for that.
You forgot all about that. They really dogged them people out.
You didn't want that.
They're like, this is a mess.
What you wanted was that lady to come and say, I go into this garden with this man every morning to drink this coffee. This sorry ass coffee that he make. And he don't know that I know that he be out there making coffee for other bitches. And I just be waiting for him to say it. And that's what y'all want. So don't act like Twitter is a chaotic dumpster fire. But it's contained. And then when it's not so contained, somebody brings it back into the atmosphere. But you ever pass like burning tires or burning garbage and the smell just elongates itself through the neighborhoods? That's what Twitter is. I think Twitter starts these dumpster fires. And then it trickles the smell over to like the Instagrams and the TikToks and the...
Definitely where the mess begins.
Yeah.
TikTok's also where mess begins. I'd be investing in TikTok beef, but Twitter is definitely a hot mess express, or X as we call it now.
Yeah.
I honestly only have X to look at people's butts. Just being super honest, people post up really nice butts on there. I like a good butt. Listen, I don't care. It is what it is.
It's getting very much so Tumblr-y. I will say, right?
Because there would be Tumblr that I was looking at butts on, but
the Tumblr girls have figured out how to bring their content over to the Twitters.
More unhinged, and
it's more unhinged because now, if you follow somebody and they just even remotely like something or in the atmosphere, it's like 6 degrees of separation. You'll see it because of that person, because of the person of the person of the person. And if you click not interested or something, they'll find another way to make you interested.
You will see it. So sorry to any of my friends.
I have said not interested in like 5 different things in the last 2 weeks. And somehow, some way, they have all, if not these same posts, a post from that same person have popped up.
Yeah.
On my social media, on my Twitter, and I don't understand how.
The algorithms be algorithming them. So apologize to anybody who's seen butts, or techno, because that's really pretty much it. But yeah, so Jada Pinkett Smith, emphasis on the Smith, because that's what you were.
Girl.
That's what you are.
That's what you are.
Will Smith. I hope nothing but healing for you
That's
both.
what
I honestly kind of equate Will Smith to being like, at least my generation's in the black community's like older brother. Like I grew up on Fresh Prince. Like we kind of watched Will grow up from like a young man to a grown man now.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for Will Smith. I mean, no one's perfect, of course. But
he was really that guy.
He was that guy.
You know what I'm saying?
He's America's older brother for black people.
For black people.
So
and not just,
I hate to see he's going through stuff. I hate to see that he did that to Chris Rock and kind of like fucked up his, career for
and I don't know
Miss Pinkett Smith, who is still in love with this man who's been deceased since the year I was born, which if you don't know was 27 years ago. Even though I swear to God, I swear I saw Tupac the other day in somewhere at the store. I was like, is that Tupac?
Eric, see the conspiracy even at your young age, the conspiracy theorists have got you. They've got you to believe that this man is living in Cuba somewhere, living his life. So I read somewhere the other day that they said Tupac faked his death to get away from Jada.
Had to have. But yeah, so
it's crazy. I just want them. I agree.
I just want healing. I just want Jada to be quiet.
I want honesty. I want
to be left out the group chat.
Yes,
but also don't, because we wouldn't have anything to talk about otherwise. So
okay, here we are.
I'll just put it on D&D. Just do not disturb it, and I'll read it when I get to it.
Yeah. When I open my phone and I see 42 unread messages, I know 30 of them are probably from the group chat that is muted. So that's fine. I'm just wanting all of it. We don't know anything about these people's personal relationships. And I don't know what the end goal is with releasing this memoir in the midst of like business happens, right? And you can't help personal life overlapping with that. I know that happens. So maybe she didn't think all this would have transpired with Will when she already had a memoir that was supposed to be coming out. And it wouldn't have been so heavy,
right?
Having seen that. Because there were already the jokes going around after August Alsina.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe she just couldn't push it back, or I don't know. But I just want... I've never been married, and I pray my marriage is something where I don't have to go through 7 years of healing. I'll say that. And this is no shade to anyone who has had to go through that. This is just my wish for me, because I know y'all like to say, if I say I went for a jog, you will say I woke up with chronic pain and my legs didn't work. And that's not going to stop your chronic pain.
Period.
I'm still going to go for my jog. You were still going to wake up with that. If you ain't got no legs, you were still going to wake up with no legs. So it don't have they don't stop me from going through my. So I know y'all like to say that. I'm just saying, for me and my personal marriage that I want to have one day, I don't want to go through 7 years of having to figure out if somebody actually wants to be me for
You can go.
life.
You can really go.
I just don't want to do that.
Because I know who wants me for life.
that.
My cat.
Oh,
I never have to question if Loki wants to be with me for the rest of his life.
You know who wouldn't go to the Red Table Talk? Loki.
He wouldn't. He wouldn't have to. There is no
never.
Red Table Talk of deception. Because it's just me and him. But yeah. So yeah, is that all we have for pop culture?
That's our pop culture segment. Our I don't know. We gotta think of a clever name for it.
We'll figure it out. I usually just ask ChatGPT these things, which gets us into our next segment, which I have now changed to a different name. Courtesy of ChatGPT. Shout out to my boy. I feel like this entire podcast is me just shouting out people that will never listen to it. But anyway, so our new segment where we're going to be just highlighting historical friendships throughout time, and we're going to call it Timeless Bonds.
Yeah.
Again, shout out to ChatGPT.
I feel like I want to
we need a sound.
like a logo.
A logo, like
the
a
Golden Girls
right.
one.
Mm-hmm. So, any producers who listen to the podcast, or until I learn how to produce myself, if you want to make a little, a little jingle for Timeless Bonds, that'd be cool. But anyway, I initially was going to talk about the friendship that I guess ended 27 years ago between Jada Pinkett Smith and Tupac Shakur. Also, just random tidbit. Apparently, they found someone associated with Tupac's murder. He was detained and arrested. Yes. I don't know how that works as far as a legal standpoint. I kind of thought there was like a statute of limitations. Like, if I killed someone like 30 years ago and I got away with it, can I still be arrested today?
Not if you're talking about it. Well, it depends on the state.
Like, I figured there was like a limit to it. Like, eventually, like okay, we didn't catch you, so you got that one free.
It's certain crimes too. So it's like the double jeopardies of the world. It's like depending upon state, depending upon the crime. This man is also claiming that the hit was put out through him by Diddy.
I didn't watch. I didn't read anything
about
it. I just saw it on the news, and I was just like, okay.
That Mr. Love. Is the one that put the hit out, and now he said he didn't even do the shooting. He was just in the car, but all the other people are dead. So
you're in jail now. Anyway,
should have just kept your mouth shut.
So I'm actually going to use our moment of Timeless Bonds today to focus on a little bit of a sensitive subject. I'm going to make it super quick because I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I don't know every single nuance of it. I'm not going to pretend that I do.
Either. That's why she put the memoir out.
Tragic. So unlike Jada Pinkett Smith, I'm going to keep it super short, and I'm just going to go ahead and highlight the current state of affairs in Israel and Palestine. Again, I do not know the full history.
Oh yeah,
I don't.
No.
I'm not going to pretend that I know every single bit of it, but I do know that there's grave losses on both sides.
That is the disclaimer we are putting out. I put it out on our behalf last week. I felt that you would agree, so I'm so glad you said that.
Okay.
I said the same thing, and we are in no way, shape, or form saying that one is right over the other.
Exactly. Loss of life sucks. No matter how it happens or where it happens, who did it, it sucks, period. Unless you're a Nazi. But either way, moving on. But so anyway, back to what I was saying. I do know that the Black Lives Matter movement and Palestinians actually do have quite a bit of history because they have a lot of similarities. You have a marginalized group that are being treated poorly and not being treated fairly, and how they respond to those treatments, of course, is a bit different. And I know, like I said, I don't know the full history. I don't know all of it, but I do know that Palestinians have been hand in hand with a lot of our brethren on the Black Lives Matter side during our protests, during our stand-ups and things like that. I'm not going to sit here and say that, Palestine's in the right or Israel's in the correct or whatever, but I do just want to say that my heart goes out to everyone in that region. Maybe you have family there, maybe you live there, whatever the case may be. Really fucking sucks. I hate war. I hate, I just hate loss of life that doesn't have a rhyme or reason. Like, it doesn't have to be this way. It fucking sucks. But again, I just wanted to shout out to my Palestinian brothers and sisters out there. My heart goes out to you. Same with the Israeli side of things. Just fucking shit sucks. So, honestly, at this point, I think we should just put world leaders into like a boxing ring and let them fight with each other. Because what do we have to do with this?
You know what? MTV.
That could be a new show. Like,
the celebrity boxing ring, make it a reality. I know it was animated, but put these people in, let them deal with it.
Okay, why are they making decisions for us? I'm Confucius.
It's just it's just a sucky situation because you don't want to see anyone die.
Exactly, and also, I just want to use this time to also just put a little something out there as far as the Black Lives Matter movement goes in general, or anybody of any kind of group. If people are there to support you and you're not willing to extend that same level of support to them, you need to look at yourself, like, pretty hard. I've seen a lot of people who are part of, like, the Black Lives Matter movement who were not willing to extend an open hand or show up for protest and stuff like that. And I mean, I'll say that I have not been to a protest in regards to this matter, not because I don't want to show support. It's just because I don't see how showing protests here in America is going to do much, because it's not really an American problem per se. I mean, we definitely dipped our toe in it, as America likes to do, but yeah.
We can show solidarity for one side, but the nation that we are citizens of have already pledged their alliance to
exactly. So
sides.
Our voice isn't really going to do a bunch, but I will commit to this. I will do my research as far as different support organizations or, fundraisers you can submit to if you're interested in showing your solidarity and support for anyone. I'll include those in the bio, or I'll have Chris include them in the bio. But yeah, just wanted to spend that timeless bond to just kind of talk about, what's going on. Like I said, there is a bit of history between us and, the individuals over there. So yeah.
Okay. So no Jada picking and
no.
no Tupac.
I was going to talk about Jada and Tupac, but we already know what's going on. Jada did it for me.
Yeah.
That's her soulmate. That's all that matters.
And thank you for tuning in to the Friendship University podcast. Thank you so much for listening for another week, because what?
She said that's my soulmate.
Okay, so this week we decided that we would probably discuss something that is ongoing, so you may hear it again, but we wanted to just highlight and reference some lessons that we've learned from our friends, maybe recently, or some lessons that have stuck with us over time, and some lessons that we can say some of our friends have taken. I do a lot of retrospective work, and Miki just said he was doing the same over these last couple of weeks, thinking about where he wanted to go and what he can do to get there. So I'm sure in that time there were moments where you kind of have a remembrance of something that someone said, or something that someone did, or a conversation that you had. So I just want to take a trip down that kind of memory lane. I feel like a lot of mine are more recent, but I may try to think about a couple of older ones. I don't know. You want me to kick it off, or you want to kick us off?
You can go ahead and get us started.
Okay, so I put down that I was recently reminded, I recently reminded someone that as long as you have the time, the ability, and the meaning to do it, reach out. If there wasn't really any beef, or even if there was, but nothing like, I guess, substantial, you know what I'm saying? Like let's say you're not reaching out because you're lonely, or because you're nosy and you want to know what's going on with this person, right? Make the call. Send a text. I had a friend who was talking about they missed someone that they seemingly fell out with. It wasn't a tough fallout. Just young, dumb stuff. You just don't, and everybody's like bullheaded and stubborn. So in my mind, I'm just like, it could be 6 days, it could be 6 years. You can reach out. If that person's really pulling on you, really on your heart, really like someone that you really want to check in on, you really want to know what's going on. And it doesn't even have to be like a reconnection kind of thing. That can transpire per se. But maybe this person's just really on your thought wave. Just do it. You don't have any... Okay, they don't answer. Okay, they try to shade you. Them shading you for being a good person does what to you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Definitely spend the time to reach out to your friends. Like you said, maybe 6 days or 6 years. Oftentimes when I have that feeling that I should call someone or reach out to them, usually it's for a good reason. Like, I don't really know what it is, but they might have been thinking about you, or maybe they're going through something, or maybe something exciting happened. Like, the amount of times I've reached out to someone that I haven't talked to in a good bit of time, and they're like, oh my God, I was just thinking about you the other day, or, no, is that true or not? I don't know.
You don't know.
I mean, I'll think it's true. true.
Yeah.
Or they're like, oh my God, I'm actually going through A, B, C, and D. I'm really happy that you hit me up or whatever. So definitely go with that gut feeling.
I was thinking
There's normally
about
a good reason for that.
It made me think about it because I had a friend who reached out, and they're like, I was just so actually, let me rewind that. I reached out to them initially, and I didn't get a response for a couple of days, so I didn't really think anything of it. And then they reached back out, and they were like, oh my God, I've been thinking about you so much, and I've been contemplating what to say back because, I'm terrible at communication, and I've missed you so much, and I don't know. I'm so glad you reached out, and I want to hang out very soon, and just different. This is just do it. Get out of yourself. Get out of your pride. Get out of your way. If this person hasn't been detrimental to your health, if it's not someone you initially or intentionally cut off because they just weren't a good person or they just weren't in alignment with where you wanted to go, it's a different story. Sometimes, and that's why I wanted to put a disclaimer in there of saying, like, as long as it doesn't have anything to do with, like, loneliness, like you're just missing the good times you had with someone and you forget all the bad times, or you just want to be nosy, like maybe you saw them you're bored, maybe you saw them on social media, maybe they popped up on your For You page, and you're
they got that
like,
job you were interested in.
Okay,
like, they work at Apple. Let me hit them up, see if they can get a referral.
See what's going on here. Like, no, don't do that. But if it's a genuine, like, I just want to check in on this person, just do it.
Yeah, I'm really big on check-ins. For better or worse, I'm usually the friend who does reach out before anybody else just to see how people are doing. I actually called a friend about that last year because I was just like, listen, like, I feel like if I don't hit you up, like, we're never going to talk or whatever. And he explained, he was like, I just have, like, anxiety, and I'm the kind of person who, like, if I don't hear from someone, I assume they're fine or whatever. So, people work differently, but I definitely encourage people on both sides. Don't be the only person hitting people up. Like, if you notice you're the only one hitting your friends up and they never hit you up, it's probably a red flag about something.
Exactly. So make sure it is what it is.
Yeah, but that actually leads into one of mine that I feel like goes hand in hand with that. This is just a lesson I've learned from people like my best friends, those of us in here in the room and things like that. But there's no such thing as being too busy. Ever. There's like, okay, so
I'll say it.
There's no such thing as being too busy. I know a lot of people who work full time, go to school full time, go to the gym, work on their podcast, are an aunt or an uncle,
a pet parent,
take care of their parents, whatever the case may be. There's so much time. Yes, time is short. You're not on earth very long. Like, ultimately, if you really boil it down, outside of, like, being a child, as an adult, you have like 40, 60 years maybe, and then it's a wrap. But anyway,
you're wild.
I mean, it's true. Humans only live like naturally till like 80, 90 years old. It's not a long time. But
Queen Elizabeth lives to 96.
How unfortunate for us. But anyway, so there's no such thing as being too busy. You can find time for those who you care about. Absolutely. It may not be a tremendous amount of time. It may not be the kind of time that you want to spend with them. Like, it may not be like, let's go on a vacation or like, let's go get dinner. It may be a, you're driving home from the office and you call your friend and be like, hey, I just want to call and say hi. It may be, you're studying for your exams and you go grab some Oreos downstairs. You're like, oh, I'm gonna call my friend real quick to say what's up.
They love Oreos.
They love Oreos to see what's going on. You maybe you're on lunch break, or maybe you're, just scrolling through TikTok before you go to bed or whatever the case may be. Like, you can find time for the people you care about. And for those who say like, oh, I'm too busy, or like, I'm just so busy, I never have time for people I care about, or I'm just so busy, I never have time to, A, B, C, and D, or that's usually an excuse, and they're using their business as a way to not connect with you or contact you. And I do understand there are times that come up where, like, listen, I got, my entrance exams for grad school on Friday. It's phone off until then. And I get that happens time and time, but eventually that person is going to have time for you.
And there's communication that can happen
before
in
intro. Like, hey, like, I'm really busy this week. I'll text you or I'll call you next week. Like I said, I know friends who have 101,000 things going on throughout any period and still find the time. I would encourage, my little tidbit on that is to just, start incorporating the technology you have. I have a calendar. I've been using my calendar like fuck. I use it to schedule calls. I'll be like, listen, girl, I'm gonna go ahead and call you on Wednesday at 9:00. It's on the calendar. I'll hit you up. Being intentional with how you use that time is important. Again, It may not be a lot of time, maybe a 30-minute conversation on the way home from school or something like that. Use that 30 minutes to contact someone, or, it may be 15 minutes as you're drying your hair off from the shower, but you have to get back to studying or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be the most impactful, longest time together, but just use your time wisely. There's no such thing as being too busy.
And I think I'll take it a small step further with that. I feel like when we start to think about the questions of I just didn't have time in a day, it makes us have to evaluate what we did with the time in the day that we had. And a lot of people don't want to do that. Because if you start to think about, I spent 2 hours on TikTok.
Right, like, are you really that busy, or
are you just wasting time? I spent an hour on Twitter. That was 4 hours. And you can argue the me time kind of thing all you want. Social media ain't that much of a me time. So it's just like when you start evaluating what you're actually doing with your time. And this is something that I've recently become so inundated into Twitter like I used to be back in the day. Because I used to tweet a lot. And I got off social media and I was just like, oh, I'll check it like every now and then. But with the podcast and with wanting to know what's going on and just wanting to be informed, I be on Twitter way more than I think about in a day. And then a day goes by and I'm like, I spent almost 3 hours on Twitter today. I could have been using that to do... I start thinking about, I could have been using that to do the editing I need to do. I could have been using that to do XYZ. That's crazy. And not to say that you don't enjoy simple pleasures, because everybody like to throw out, I enjoy something small in the world for me, and just for me, just for me. No, like, chill, because Twitter didn't bring you that much happiness. So, I just want people to self-examine. Understand it's difficult to self-examine yourself when it comes to those kind of conversations. Because you'll tell yourself, I didn't have the time, I didn't have the time, and I didn't have the time. And I know for majority of us, we are in the back of our minds thinking, if I didn't do XYZ, I would have had the time. And then it's triggering, especially if the person brings it up.
Right.
Like, maybe they know you're a social media, like, person, and you do a lot of social media scrolling, and, oh, well, I know you like to pick up your phone, and, because I do know people who are like, oh, I text you about something, you didn't text me back till the next day, and they're like, oh, I just didn't get to it, and he's like, but I know you're on social media all day, so I know your phone's in your hand, so, like, how do you not respond?
I'll be honest with people, I'll be like, listen, I read that, and I completely forgot to reply.
And it's just like, you do have to know who you're dealing with, but it's also like a situation where you can't let something overtake what you really want to do. So, like, if something is hindering you from doing what you actually want to do, that's bondage. So, like, you have to just evaluate, like, what's going on. Why am I, like, so hindered by this? Why can't I, like, do what I want to do or know what I know I'm supposed to do? Those kind of situations, those kind of conversations happen. And it may be easier to have those before you reach out, but even still, just thinking, like, oh, I do spend 2 hours a day on Twitter. Maybe these 30 minutes I can call such and such. Because I'm good for a call back from the grocery store. Like, right. Oh, hey, and if you miss it, we'll try again tomorrow, girl, because once I walk in the house, it's a wrap. I got stuff to do. And my situation's different. I gotta call you when I can.
But truly, so, like, there's so many different gotta, like, catch me when you can. Catch me when you can.
Catch me when you can, for sure. But that's a great point, for sure. You're totally right. So I was personally recently reminded to take care of my health early and often, which was interesting because I like to think of myself as someone who's active, and I eat, I guess, okay. I'm not going to say I eat well all the time, but I try to put healthy things into my body, but I guess over a few months ago, I fell into a slump, and I was just like, oh... I almost was trying to make myself believe, like, the work I had done beforehand would carry me on into the future, which is not how health...
You were just going to cry, okay?
That's not how health and fitness work.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It's not how health and fitness works.
Get a run and start and just glide the rest. That would be so nice.
It was just so late. It was like a slump of laziness. I don't even know what happened. But yeah, this person was just like, health is an everyday choice, which I knew, but you just have to be reminded of it. And just like, it's just like everything else in your life. Like, you just have to work at it every single day. We're getting older. I work a more sedentary lifestyle right now, where I don't do as much movement as I used to. And I like read a statistic that people who sit all day when they work are like 500 times more likely to have like a heart disease or a cardiovascular disorder. And I was just like, no, like I would get up and I try to run
500 times.
Which is crazy, right? It's disgusting when I heard that.
I will be getting a standing desk.
You see, I have mine. And the standing desk is fine, but it's still like not movement, right? Mm-hmm. And I enjoy movement. And I realized like me not doing it for the few months that I wasn't doing it was affecting me mentally. And I didn't realize the correlation until I like went back out for my very first morning. I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing. I've been missing like the fresh air and getting out and getting physical. Yeah, I did highlight a piece of what validated what this person said, because I was talking to them and we're all candid. I like to think all my friends are candid with one another. We're not vulgar. There's a difference between aggression or meanness versus vulnerability or like candidness. And they were just talking to me about like asking me questions about why I felt like I didn't want to get movement and blah, 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 blah. And then they were like, do you consider yourself an athlete? And I was like, well, at one point I was. Like, top tier, tennis captain, track, went to college, played tennis, played a little bit after college. And they're like, I really want you to look up this coach on Instagram who's a trainer, and they do virtual and in-class. They mostly do the West Coast, but I was like, okay. And I didn't look them up immediately. And then maybe like 2 days they showed up on my, For You page. Mm-hmm. And their like breakdown of an athlete and their definition of an athlete was so like encouraging to me. And it was just like validation to what my friend said, because I like wrote it down because I was like, this is good. So I cannot remember the woman's name. I'm so sorry. And I tried to find her, but I don't follow her. So I can only remember what she said. But she pretty much said that she's a trainer and she calls all of her clients athletes. She explains that everyone is an athlete. Everyone has the ability to push themselves to further limits. It's just about where you are, where you want to go, and how much consistency you are willing to put into that journey. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is like, I know it sounds like motivational, like that motivational tape, but like, I like that kind of stuff. I like positive reinforcement. I like her saying that everyone's an athlete. She was talking about, I think the post that I saw, the woman may have been like a little bit over 300 pounds, and she had only lost, and I say only because we look at the scale as a definitive thing, but she was doing a side-by-side video, and she was like, oh, my client, this was what she calls them athletes. She said, this athlete started at 305. She's now at 295. It had been like 6 months. But you could see the difference in the physique. You could see the difference in her strength. All these things. And she was like, she kept pushing. This athlete needed to focus on this. And this athlete needed to focus on that. And I just thought that was so cool. I thought it was such a good way to approach training.
Less pressure, yeah.
Yeah, like, and especially you hear the word athlete. It kind of does something. She like, athlete girl, yeah, I'm an athlete. I can be an athlete. Like, yeah, let's do it. So when I learned that, I kind of like picked back up my fitness journey, took it a little bit more seriously. I was really doing the runs for personal reasons. A lot of times it was my daily like instance to be able to, because I do devotions and I wake up and I read and I pray a little bit, but then I also like to do kind of like a call and respond to God. So I would go back out and like ask questions or do different things on my runs, or even like listen to other inspirational messages to get my day off of the ground. And now it's more like I'm intentionally doing this because I care about my health. I want to be around for the children that I hope to have one day. I want to just like be good. You know what I mean? Like I really want to not have to worry about ailments that don't have to naturally occur.
Right.
If we have something to do with it. So I was reminded about that from a dear friend. Thank you.
Shout out to them.
So great.
Yeah. Movement
is
so important. Even if it's not weightlifting or whatever.
If it's not running, if it's not weightlifting, even if it's just walking. Something to move your body. Because as you get older, they say the mortality rate has to do with the people that they lose their mobility. So they have to hunch over when they get up and walk, or they can't get up and walk. They can't walk long distances. They can't drive. Those kind of things. It's just like, that's what hinders people from being able to like live longer. And I don't know about other people, but I want to be here a while. I have things that I want to do. I want to be around to see specific things. So that was a very good reminder. It was very gentle.
Yeah.
It was very like a... And this was a guy. So it was like...
That's nice.
It was like a, hey girl. But not a hey girl, but like, yo.
What's up? Yeah. But yeah, no. Movement's super important. If you think about it, humans aren't actually meant to stay still very long. We used to walk miles upon miles to hunt food. So, yeah. So moving on into my next one. Which involves me pulling up my note that I had closed on accident. Now it's back open. So this actually leads into another one of mine that was on the top of my list. And it's a lesson I've learned from a lot of my friends. And it's that you're capable, or I'm capable of, more than I realize or you realize. Because it depends on where you are in that sentence. Anyway, I often doubt myself. I know a lot of people struggle with doubting themselves, maybe like, oh, I'm not good enough for this job, or I'm not smart enough to do this, or I'm not, talented enough for that, or whatever the case may be. And there's often those friends that push you to try your best, that, are really important and really impactful to me, especially because there are often times where I've doubted my ability to like DJ or something like that. And people are like, no, you're fucking killing it. Like, maybe you can work on these things, but like, you're going to be fine. You're doing great or whatever. And I think it's really helpful to have like that external validation. Of course, internal validation is super important. And being able to validate and support and believe in yourself is super important. But also having those around you who believe in you and support you and push you to be the very best version of yourself that you can be are really important. Like I said, maybe you applying to that job, or you going back to school, or you releasing that DJ set, you going back to the gym, or going back to your health journey. Having those friends who are like, yo, like, I see what you can do. I see your power. I see my power. Sorry. So there's a chokehold on me. That better be in the movie. I'm just saying that. You know what? It'll be in the movie.
If the movie's like a...
That movie's gonna be a Blue Ivy documentary.
A photo book of all y'all looks, because y'all were the visuals.
Can't wait. You are the visuals. But yeah, just that you're more capable than you realize of different things. Self-doubt is, I think, a really normal thing to feel.
Absolutely.
No matter what you're doing,
People
no matter how
to
confident you are. I feel like there are times where you're like, maybe I don't have what it takes.
Absolutely.
So unless you are just super delusional, then shout out to my Delulu girls out
It ain't
there.
even delusional. It's going to, whether you show it around someone or not, you're going to question what you're doing, whether it's the beginning or the end. It's going to happen. So I appreciate that for sure, because and they wanted to put their 2 cents in. I don't know if y'all heard that.
The ghost.
Anywho, my ghost. Yeah, I think it can be. I personally don't know what it feels like to be put down consistently in the sense of I have these dreams that I want to do and people are constantly telling me I can't do it. Have I had big dreams where people didn't understand and they may have tried to talk me out of it, and that may be on the same wavelength but not really. But I think it's important to understand that even the individuals who say, nobody believed in me, I got here on my own, I did it for myself, blah, 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 blah. Like, even if you look at the Kanye West docs and he's just like, I knew I was the greatest. He still had his mom. His mom was really still there, like, you can do this. You're the greatest of all time. There has to be someone there who is like an encourager, who is like, I may not see the vision fully. I may not even understand it. Or maybe I do. But even if I don't, I'm still going to encourage you to get there. And the individuals will be like, oh, I made it on my own. Again, because they'll be like, they made it on. You did it. Maybe you did. Maybe you were at the beginning the only person who believed in yourself. But then somebody believed in you to fund the project for you to do what you need to do.
Right.
And keep going. So, like, you need someone who's going to push you and say, hey, you can do this. You're better than this. You have more potential than this. You know, all those things. For sure.
As Kristen says, no one ever gets to the top without a little help.
They don't. And if they tell you they did, they're a liar. And the truth is not in them. Never believe anything they said. So, and we are not proponents of pulling the ladder up behind us. So, we're going to do what we can to help in whatever way we can when we get to where we need to go. But yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. We get to where we need to go from encouragement. So I will say one thing that this wasn't too recent, but I did have to remind someone of the fact that even though someone's your friend and you care about them and they could be a good person, all those things, you can't be mad at someone for not living up to a standard you made up in your own head.
And that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
So we can oftentimes see a word of potential in people we care about, especially, but if they show us who they are, Maya Angelou said, believe them.
Believe them.
She said. And believing who they show us to be doesn't mean that we're believing them to be less than or not good enough. We're just believing them to be who they are. Because sometimes we will make renditions of people in our minds that ain't who they want to be. So even if
just completely out of reality.
Yeah. So even if we had this, like, I picture you being this, that don't mean that's what I want to be. So, I think we do a lot of freeing of ourselves and the other person when we stop putting those kind of like figmented fragments of our imagination onto them. Mm-hmm. So there were situations that happened recently where it was like, we know this individual to be this way. And again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Mm-hmm. They weren't doing bad things. They weren't being a bad individual. You're just thinking, no, at this moment, I want you to do this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But that's not what I want to do. Like, so I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I never said I wanted to do that. I never showed you I wanted to do that. Just take me as I am, like Mary J. Blige said, or have nothing at all, girl. So, I think it's really important to, like, understand that we have to hear, or we can see things in someone's story that they may not see in the beginning. And, gradually they may start to show interest in that, and we can guide them into that. But we can't change someone's story if they don't want it to change. True. So, that could be at the lowest level of someone is doing very bad things and they don't want to change. Mm-hmm. And that could be let's take, for instance, Barack and Michelle Obama. If Barack said, I never wanted to become president, I want to stay a senator, and he never expressed wanting to be a president. But maybe Michelle saw him as a president. What would have happened to that relationship if she tried to push him into presidency?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what I want, though. I never saw myself doing that. I don't even hear that that's my calling. You have to take people for what they want. If if you say you want to be a DJ, you want to be a producer, and then all of a sudden I want to just start making you, I'll be like, well, I see you venturing out of techno. You could do R&B. You could do hip hop. You could do all these things that you're just not interested in the sense of like, maybe you should put out maybe you should try to make a dance track with Chris Brown, and you're
Absolutely
like,
not.
I don't want to do that.
I'll work at Chick-fil-A before I work with Chris Brown.
That's me thinking about something that you don't even desire.
Exactly.
So we just have to take people as who they are, and it frees us and it frees the other person when we don't put them on a pedestal that they never created for themselves.
I really like that one, actually. I think I've been guilty of trying to make people something that they weren't.
Y'all have.
I'm sure people have been guilty of doing that to me before. I'm sure very recently as well. So I think that's really a really important one for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and move us into another one. Actually, for once, this one doesn't have anything to do with the one that she wrote. But something I've often taught friends, and probably taught a lot of people on this podcast, who are our friends. We're all just one big happy friend family.
You are a family.
Family.
Like a giant tree stretching out to the sky.
Love
Insert Dreamgirls family. But I said
she's been trying to have us watch Dreamgirls for the past 7 months.
I love it.
Anyway, so my lesson to everyone, my friends, something I've taught people before is don't take wooden nickels. And what I mean by that is ask questions. Question everything.
If y'all missed the Wooden Nickels episode, please watch it.
Just
or
listen to it.
I'm sorry.
Ask questions. Never take things at face value.
Absolutely not.
I mean, some things are what they appear, and that's fine. But question people, question their motives, question decisions, just question things. And I don't necessarily mean like interrogate all your friends. Like, why are you friends with me? Why do you love me? Why are you here? But if someone does something that you don't understand, question it. Ask them, why did you do that? Why did you? What made you come to that conclusion?
And pay attention to the response.
Pay attention to the response. If your boss or your teacher, whatever, says something to you that you don't understand, ask them a question. Yeah. If they move a certain way and you need clarification, ask questions. Question everything. Don't take wooden nickels. And again, that pretty much just means don't let yourself be the fool. Like, it's okay to question people's motives. It's okay to question what people have in store or whatever the case may be. Of course, there are limitations to it. Like I said, don't go out here interrogating every single person and be like, what are your motives? Why are you around me? Why are we friends? Yada, yada, yada. But for example, if you ask your friend, why are we friends? And they can't really give you much of an answer. That might be something you don't want to think about. Like, okay, hold on. Why can't you figure out why we're friends? Like, you can't think of one thing you like about me. It's just like, oh, I just, I like you. That okay? Why do you like me? What about me? Like what? So, and that's the same thing with like relationships that could be your spouse, your husband, whatever. Like, oh, babe, what do you love about me? Oh, I just love the way you cook or something like that. Like, okay, cool, but what else? I love the way you make me feel. Okay, but what does that have to do about me specifically? So, like I said, just question stuff. Question everything.
I
have a curiosity about things. It's probably the best way to put it.
You have the right, especially as you get older, to not be naive enough to just take things at face value. Especially, I think at this point, we have to examine what's going on because we've seen so many instances where things have presented themselves as one thing and then they became another. So I completely agree with that. I have personally found, I'm not saying this is rooted in scientific fact, but in my personal opinion, someone who either gets quickly and highly agitated by questioning is either hiding something or lying, which kind of go hand in hand. But most times people don't get agitated by questioning.
I will say I put a little asterisk in that where I do agree a lot of the time.
Not unless you're asking the same question. Now, if you're asking the same question and you're just not getting the answer you want, then you need to communicate. This is not making sense to me, or that's actually not what I was looking for. That's a completely different story. But if you're just asking a series of questions and you're like, huh, or, you know, then it's kind of like,
I will say, it's kind of, because I still want to asterisk that in the sense of, like, yeah, there are a lot of times where someone gets angry or upset or deflects questions that normally, like, there's not like they're hiding something or they just don't want to explain something. I will say, and I am on the receiving end of this as well, there are times where I am being asked a lot of questions and I feel like I'm being invaded on, where it's like, okay, you're asking me, like, a lot of questions right now and I don't know where it's coming from. Like, do you, like, not trust me? Do you not care about me? And that's why I said, like, don't take that advice as like a let me go question every single body in my life and like hound them down about every single decision, every single thing they say. I'm more so saying that about have a healthy curiosity about people and the things around you. A lot of times things aren't what they seem, and I think I use a lot of negative examples, but there might be situations where you were confused about someone's actions and you need some clarification on something, or some things that aren't what they appear. You may ask your partner and be like, hey, I've noticed you've been distant. You might think they're cheating on you. Meanwhile, he's dealing with the fact that his brother has like diabetes or something, or, there's diabetes or something. There was something going on in the family. So just have a healthy curiosity about the people around you. I think it can, lead to deeper connections with people, conversations that you may not typically have, you might end up having with someone. There's been numerous times where I've asked someone a question and they'll be like, I never thought about that before. And then you have this whole, conversation about it. So
it can lead to deeper things for sure. And I think it fosters a good environment of healthy conversation, because I know a lot of times we can try to internalize things as having to do with us. And a lot of times whatever's going on don't have nothing to do with us. I will ask, what's going on? What's up?
Right.
How you doing?
Exactly.
Because like if I see changes or even I will express like I'm feeling this kind of way. It don't got nothing to do with you. I just need to do XYZ or whatever. I think it's important to feel comfortable and confident enough to tell the truth, that the truth will be perceived as the truth. If you are telling the truth and people are still trying to be like, nah, blah, blah, on the reverse end of that, it needs to be like, all right, we having these conversations that you wanted, you ain't taking it as what it is. And because sometimes people will answer and they don't get the answer they want, and then they'll keep asking the same question to get the answer they want. And that's not okay.
Right.
So I do think it's important to look at it from both sides. If you are being questioned and you are giving a genuine, honest answer and it's just not being reciprocated or accepted, then you need to be like, well, why are you not accepting this as the response that I'm giving you?
Right. So,
yep, I love that. I love an open communication. I'm a communicator girl. So I will say this actually is something that I learned. I do not know these people in real life, but I was following some kind of conversations about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And I know oftentimes we will talk a lot about how silence is complacency and is scared, you're fearful. But they were just really explaining the fact that there, in certain times, there is no shame in silence. Like, it's not cowardice to be silent about something you don't know about. It's not cowardice to be silent about something you don't have the capacity to actually intake. I know when we're going through things, and I'm not putting this on the same pedestal as, like, having a bad hair day, per se. But there are people who have gone through real life traumas and they just don't have the capacity to deal with more trauma. So they don't engage. They don't want to figure out what's going on. They don't want to do. The only reason I covered it last week is because I feel like it tied into two sides to a coin, right? So I talked a little bit about how we can see two truths existing at the same time, how we can see two horrible things, but people still having their frame of minds as being right at the same time. And I had studied this a while ago, so I had already known about this. I had all this conflict between them has been going on since before I was born.
Way before we were born.
Yeah, but my mom was born.
Hundreds of years.
My dad was in the army when some of this stuff was going on. So, but I understand people who are like, I just mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever, I just don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't look up another baby getting blown up. I can't look up another I can't do it. And so sometimes it is better to be silent in the states of where you don't have anything meaningful or helpful to offer. Because we want to say on one hand, to be silent is to be cowardice. But we also, on the other hand, want to say is to open your mouth and to show the world that you're a fool. We can't. Which one's the truth? Is it Uchiwali or is it one mic? Like, which is the truth? Sometimes I don't want to open my mouth up and be foolish about the things that I say and be inconsiderate. And sometimes I don't want to open my mouth up because it could potentially hurt another individual or something. So,
right.
I think we need to understand that silence is an option. And this is coming from someone whose favorite quote is from Audre Lorde, "Your silence will not protect you," when she talked about the injustices and her feminist movement and all those things, where it was just like, you can't. But she was also talking about things that were very less heavy on the soul and the fact of lives being lost. Yes, mentally people were breaking down, and yes, there were a lot of things that were happening that were causing disparity and disdain and just a lot of horrible things. But when you bring lives into it, and it's just like children, you know what I'm saying? It's like bombing. Some people just don't have it. And you have to understand the coverage that some people are getting. Again, we are in a nation that has stood in solidarity with Israel. They have been an ally. The United States has been an ally of Israel for decades at this point. They have not backed down from that. And so, what do you think our current president is going to do? He's going to stand in solidarity with the allyship that we made. So, it's not a black and white situation. There are some grays. And I think that silence gives you the option to acknowledge that there's a gray ship that's happening even in your horrible reality. So, just don't feel bad about being silent. Don't feel bad about not knowing what to say or when to say it or who to say it to. And this doesn't go for the people who know what's going on and who know what's happening and who have a very staunch stand on where they are in this fight. We're not talking to you. We're talking to the everyday individual who just really just doesn't know what's going on. When you think about what was happening with the Black Lives movement in the Americas, we had a couple of people in other nations stepping up, but a lot of people really did not know what was going on. They weren't seeing coverage. They didn't know. And you have to take these kind of things into account with the responses that people give. Some people just don't know. They just don't know what's going on. If I were to stop and tell you how many genocides and wars are actually going on in Africa right now, you would be disgusted. Your mouth will probably drop to the floor. The world is full of turmoil. I'll say that.
Good choice of word.
The world
Good
is full
choice
of
of word.
turmoil. And there are things happening everywhere. And there are genocides that I saw happening in Africa when I was in college almost a decade ago, still happening to this day, just like with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Mm-hmm. And my heart just goes out to everyone affected. I don't want any of this to be happening. And I know none of y'all want that to be happening either. But what am I supposed to say that's going to make one of you all feel better if I don't know what's going on? That's like you going to Le Cordon Bleu and you're coming to me and you're saying, tell me which one of these French toast is better. Do you like French toast or do you like waffles? Well, maybe the waffles you made at this Le Cordon Bleu were better than the waffles I normally have at Waffle House. I don't know. Or maybe I just don't have an opinion about it. And we got to stop forcing people to pick a side when the sides seem like eons away. You don't know which way to go. Everybody right now, what we're hearing is all like the people who aren't in it and who don't know the history of it are hearing a political debate, right? Mm-hmm. You may as well say we're in another presidential candidacy. And there are things that are happening where you're hearing stuff and this person saying, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, but that makes sense too. Oh, but that makes sense too. Oh, but that makes sense too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, everything you said, it's okay to be silent. I actually encourage a lot of you to be more silent, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of people I've seen posting, Israel flags this week. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I know where you were during the Black Lives Matter movement. But anyway,
okay.
Well, actually, hilariously enough, those are the same exact people who were not at the Black Lives Matter movement. But anyway, yeah. Everything you just said, I probably couldn't have said it any fucking better, honestly.
And Biden had, I will say, our president has condoned the actions of both parties, right? There have been funds sent to particular allies, but there have been, condonement of that. If that's worth anything, probably not. But
probably not.
Okay, what you got, Mickey?
Yeah, it's gonna be my last one for the evening. And this is one that took a long time for me to kind of grasp. Probably as of the last 3-ish years, maybe 4 years, give or take. It's like I grasped it, but I now I have a full understanding of it where it doesn't cause me as much distress. But a lesson I've learned, not necessarily from any specific friend, and it wasn't something that was just verbally explained to me per se, but it's just that disagreeing is normal.
Absolutely.
In any relationship. Mm-hmm. Just because you have a disagreement, even if that disagreement gets a little heated within respectful means. I mean, of course, there is a level of disrespect when things get a little heated where you're like, yeah. But, things get heated. Sometimes people say certain things. Everyone has their own experiences. Everyone has their own opinions on things. And it's normal that eventually, no matter how close you and your friend are, you and your partner are, you and your parent are, whatever, you're eventually going to come across something that you don't see eye to eye on. Eventually, it's bound to happen. It could be something dumb like I don't like eating Chick-fil-A because I don't like gay people. It could be something really important like I support abortion, you don't. But disagreeing is normal. It's a healthy part of a relationship. And just as you have a disagreement with someone does not mean your relationship with that person is ending. It doesn't mean that person hates you. Okay. It doesn't mean that, they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they're going to abandon you. It doesn't mean they're going it's a personal attack. It is normal for you to have disagreements. Right. It's normal for people to not see eye to eye on every single thing and all the time. If everyone saw eye to eye on everything, a lot of the fucking violence and stuff we're dealing with now would not be a thing.
War.
No war.
We wouldn't have any kind of differences whatsoever if we all thought the same way.
But life could also be really boring that way, which maybe boring is not a bad thing, but disagreeing is normal. I used to be really thrown off when me and someone would have an argument or disagreement, maybe a close friend or somebody I was dating, or I guess my parents don't count.
You're very opinionated.
Yeah, that's true, but it's still one of those things where for example, me and Gareg could have like an argument, and like I would be freaking out, like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my best friend, or oh, I shouldn't have said that, or oh my god,
you
like,
and Gareg are pretty intense. Y'all both got it.
We be going tit for tat. Me and us in this room have had disagreements before. I was like, is our friendship gonna last? Like, are they never gonna talk to me again?
Oh,
like,
girl,
whatever.
Try to get rid of me as easy as
and, I'm not going to say there are certain times, yes, where you have a disagreement and that is going to end your relationship. But the relationships that are important, the ones that are meant to stand the test of time, those are the ones that are going to make it through. Yeah, things may be a little awkward. Things may be a little, tense. Maybe be able to cut the tension with a knife when y'all are hanging out, or maybe y'all don't talk for a few days or a few weeks, whatever.
If you cool off, and yeah.
Right. I'm not going to say it'll be smooth butter all the time. But, like I said, disagreements are normal. I feel like a normal amount of uncomfortability with disagreements is okay, but don't let it completely eat away at you. Don't let it completely destroy your day or whatever. Like, try your best not to. Sometimes you have that one argument, you're just like, that really fucked me up. That really got to me or whatever. But it doesn't mean your relationship is ending. It doesn't mean that, there's something wrong with the relationship. It doesn't mean that they don't love you or you don't love them or things like that.
You don't have to go into the shower and replay it and talk about all your returning points in the mirror.
Exactly.
Now that you have time to think about it, you don't have to do all of that. It's fine.
Have your disagreements. Be respectful. Like I said, there's a level of disagreement where you're like, okay, hold on a second. Whoa now. Hold on, Holiday. Hold on, Holiday. You trying to give it to them dry like that? You gotta wet that shit up. But anyway, so that's my last bit for today. Shout out to Pink Friday too. Can't wait.
Oh,
she better play Itty Bitty at the tour.
Oh, she is. She got to do the whole Pink Friday. But I totally agree with that. I think that comes, that understanding definitely comes with age and or experience. It is actually obscene for you to think that you as two totally different individuals will never disagree. Y'all, two people with two personalities. I don't care how much you think you and your bestie are one and the same. You all are different people. There have been things that they've done. You like, I wouldn't do that. You've done things that they've done. You be like, I wouldn't do that. Or even like, y'all maybe don't like the same foods. There are differences there. So to think that two whole made human beings will never have a moment where they're like, I don't see it that way, it's crazy. And you have to understand that it doesn't mean, like you said, the end of the friendship or the end of the relationship or they'll never see me the same. I think disagreements in a contained sense are healthy in the sense of if you don't retaliate angrily, if you are looking for understanding, if you are trying to really see what the point is of this individual and not trying to hurt them and them the same, it can end way quicker than most people think. But yeah, I think we're programmed to think that arguments mean something's wrong. And that's not the case. We're just two individuals with two totally different mentalities. And as much as our mentalities may align, we're not the same. So then, even if it's 99.9% to 99.9%, that 0.1% is going to meet at some point and be like, no, that ain't what I thought this was. Or no, this is. And it's going to be that. So just don't shy away from it. If it's not aggressive or like
disrespectful,
or like abusive, or if it's a situation where it's just like a true, I'm not saying, I'll say this, like I'll say this for an example. I had a friend way back in the day who had a disagreement. I don't know what they are now. At the time, they said they were a Christian. And the church that I was going to at the time, the pastor was asking for money for a particular object. And they were like, I don't understand how a pastor... I was at kind of like a mega church at this point. And then I just don't understand how they, they know that they have members who don't make a lot and blah, 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 blah. And, I was just kind of trying to talk to them in the sense of like, we just really don't question other people when we pay them for the services or we pay them for things. And we have this, for me, it was like, a lot of people have these misconceptions that Christians are supposed to be meek and poor, and these meagly people who roam around with frolics on their back and a wool for hair and it's uncombed, unkept, which is not the case if you read the Bible. So it's just like, I don't understand why you're upset that this person, and it's an offering on top of this, it's like a gift offering, so you don't have to do this. And they were just so offended by it, and I was just like, I get your offense. I'm not gonna take that away from you. Like, it can be like, okay, you feel like they could be using that money towards anything. You're not taking into account that they do have a homeless ministry, that they do have an actual whole apartment building behind the church where they house people, over 1,200 people. It's just not enough for you. You're like, why would they want something for themselves kind of situation? But I didn't want to push that, and it just turned very, very ugly. And I tried to like back off, and they were just really trying to bait me a little bit. And I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to like do this with you. And I just walked away, and I was just like, I don't have to make you see that. It's not your vision to see. It's not my vision to see. If this is my leader, I'm going to believe it. I believe God, blah, blah, blah. I left it alone for a couple of days. They came back with a different demeanor, and it wasn't a kumbaya moment of I see your side now and da da da, but it was more like, I respect your side, I see what's happening, you're seeing this, you're seeing that, and we don't have to butt heads about it anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And even expanding on this point a little bit, as far as, and the reason I had brought this up is because something I think about as far as like different things that have triggered me in my friendships throughout the years. So not only disagreements, but making mistakes also doesn't mean the end of a friendship.
Absolutely not.
When I thought about that, I thought about a very distinct mistake I made a few years ago with a friend of ours in this room that almost ruined our friendship. But we're still here today, and now we're basically married. So, if your friend says don't hit the format button on their PlayStation and you hit the button and it formats their PlayStation and erases all their data, if they get a little upset with you, just understand that the friendship may not be over. They still love you. They still care about you. But they may be a little upset, and that's understandable. But it doesn't mean that it's the end of your friendship.
You did good though, because you actually like fade into the background.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta dip. Sometimes you have to just escape side left.
Into the background kind of situation. You ain't pushing. You was like, oh, what?
Well, at least it wasn't a lottery ticket or something that I ripped up. So, disagreements, mistakes, all that stuff doesn't mean it's the end of your friendship or your relationship with that person.
Which is good to know.
It is good. It is good to know.
You can make.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days.
Ain't nobody say you gonna accidentally run over something I care about, or like, but everybody does have mistakes. So, great. I'll end with this then. I actually, it was a mutual understanding I just had with a friend about this. Not too long ago, a while ago, but not too long ago. And we really want our friends to like be the sign offers on things we're doing, but you can't do that. Especially for me, it's like, God's gonna be the author and finisher of my fate at all. So if he tell me to do something, I'm gonna do it, regardless if the people around me feel like it's crazy or whatever. But we all oftentimes want people to co-sign the things that we're doing because it makes us feel better about what's going on. So I learned, in conjunction, to stop letting people who have never attained that which you desire or even thought was possible to be the ones guiding you on your journey. Because there's a difference between guidance and encouragement. And so for me, I had to learn, like, there are places I want to go and things that I want to attain and things that I know I will attain that may seem scary, or may even, like, not even seem scary, but make people feel like they need to still be a part of it, so they still need to give me advice about it. And guidance is a specific path that someone's already forged. So you are taking me down somewhere that you've already been, whereas encouragement is saying you're believing in me. You say, I can go to a little league game today and encourage little Baffadil or Terrell or Bobby or whoever and be like, you're doing great, sweetheart. You go for the goal. I can say that. That's encouragement. That don't mean I know the game. I can go right now to the Falcons game and be like, yeah, go for the goal. That don't mean I know football. I don't know that.
The difference of, like, leading someone versus pushing someone.
Exactly. So it's just like but there are certain people that hold so much weight in our lives at certain points that you're just like, you want to take them with you. And this is where the conversation actually, like, transpired and, like, grew, because that encouragement can the encouragement conversations can stop before the mentorship conversation stop. So I may not be talking to you as much about what's going on, because now at this point I no longer need encouragement. I just need to know where I'm going. I just need to focus on that.
Right.
And it's nothing against you to say that you don't have anything to offer me or you're not a great person. It's just you're not going you've never gone where I'm going. And I need to get there. And just let me get there. Because you don't know what's going to happen when I get there. I could come back and take all of us there. So, I did just have that conversation. Because that happens with family. I'm not saying this is a situation that particularly happened with my mom. But I'm just using my mom as an example. Because my mom feels like she knows it all. Because she's done a lot.
You got your degree? Or numerous degrees in this case.
You know every fucking thing. Because you got 2 PhDs. And you know every fucking... No, girl, you don't actually. And you in medicine and being successful. And I'm a product of seeing her do these things. I knew that things were possible and I appreciate all of that. I appreciate it. But girl, when I started talking to you about entrepreneurship, I started talking about this ain't the first rodeo we've been on where you didn't understand it. And you're just like, I don't understand. This isn't a real career. I just don't understand. And what do you want from me? I can't keep coming to you telling you the updates if you're doing this. I'm going to go with my mentor. If you're going to encourage me, girl. But you don't have any mentorship for me in this. You don't have any guidance. You're not guiding me down this path. So I feel like it's important to understand that as much good or soft-heartedness your friends may have meant with you telling them things, if you really digest the conversation and realize, I just told these individuals that I'm going to do something that maybe they actually have either never heard of, never thought possible. I ain't never done anything in this arena before, so they don't think I'm even possible.
Don't know anything about it.
It's just like, even you telling, like, for instance, you telling us the DJing thing. I'm sure you had people who were like, DJing?
What the fuck is that?
Why do you want to be a DJ? Ooh. Are you going to be playing, like, Wobble?
Wobble? Okay, a wedding DJ?
Are you going to be a wedding DJ? Like, and it's just like, no, I have a very distinct vision for my life. And if you want to encourage me along that way, that's fine. But I'm going to find somebody who actually knows what they're doing, whether it be a physical mentor or somebody I find online that I can follow on YouTube or whatever. But we all do it. Even I feel like going back to school. You're like, ain't nobody did this. They look at me like I'm crazy. sure. You got a good job? Ma'am, sir, woman, child, thing, it. Relax.
Truly.
I'm just doing it for myself. Like, I'm not smoking crack. I'm not out here saying I'm squandering my inheritance or something. Like, let me go back to school. So just your conversations are important because they're a part, the conservation of the things that you put out ties into your energy. And so if you're finding that someone you're talking to is only trying to, and I'm going to say this with the love in my heart that I meant it to be. There are sometimes people only encourage you because they still want to be a part of your story.
Okay, they're like, well, as soon as you make it, I'll be there with you.
Okay, they're not really like, so be very cautious of the information that you share and start to really ponder on who has gone where you need to go, who has done what you need to do, and then focus on, and this is not to say these people are the end all be all, but I would garner to say that in high school, if you had a mathematics test, you would be more inclined to go to your mathematics teacher versus your science teacher for tutorials. So whether this person's successful or not, be aware and go to who you think or who you know can actually help you get to where you need to go. And that's gonna probably be the last lesson I know. That's probably a very, not a recent lesson. It's a resurface lesson that I just learned, and on a very disgusting level. But
I think of all the advice we've had tonight, I think that's probably one of the bigger ones. I have been guilty of the needing validation from people who probably shouldn't be getting validation from. Yeah. Why am I asking, Joe Blow, who is an accountant, about should I be a DJ? What does he know about DJing?
Nothing.
I think it definitely comes. I think we talked about it earlier about seeking external validation versus internal validation. Yes, it is. External validation is normal, and seeking it is normal. But understand who you're seeking it from and what you're seeking it from them. And why you're seeking it. If you're struggling as far as finding, the encouragement or believing in yourself and stuff like that, then asking your friend like, hey, I need help with this, or whatever the case may be, like, go off, knock yourself out. But if you're asking your friend who is a project manager, like, how should I get into art or whatever, probably not going to get you the results you're looking for.
And sometimes you just have to find that wing within. It sucks, but there are going to be times where you're going to have to encourage yourself.
That's true. You just have to push yourself.
You're going to have to just put yourself. Ain't nobody going to be around to do it for you. And so you're just going to have to learn how to do that. And the strength in that is realizing if you do it once, you can do it again.
Like I said, the first thing, you're more capable than you realize. See, it all comes full circle. This entire episode's been a full circle, just like the red tabletop.
Oh.
Going full circle around Will Smith's sanity.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I'm going to end with our quote of the day. Because Big Willie, Big Silly, I don't know what's going on in the Wild Wild West. And it ain't none of my business, honestly. Here's the quote for the day. In school, you're taught a lesson and then given a test. In life, you're given a test that teaches you a lesson. Tom Brady, who was one of the voices from the Animaniacs.
I love me some Animaniacs.
Animaniacs.
Wait, which one did he voice?
I think he voiced not Dot. Let me see. I should look that up. Because it wasn't Dot. And it wasn't. He voiced Mr. Skullhead.
Don't know who that is.
This guy.
Never seen that man a day in my life. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Minor character, featured in Good Idea. Original Tiny Toons adventure character, but he was created by Amara Duff as a spin-off character, so I guess I don't know. But yes, we love the Animaniacs. So, any final words?
I don't really have any final words. I loved all the advice and, lessons we've learned from our friendships, and I'm looking forward to the more lessons and, more growth and all that stuff that'll come from our friendship moving forward.
Excellent. So you all know where to find us, but if you don't, everything will be in the description box below. We are at Funny Podcast on all the social platforms. That's FUNIPODCST. That is, again, is at FUNIPODCST at Twitter, at Instagram, at TikTok. You can also reach us at friendshipuniversitypodcast@gmail.com. We're getting into the holidays. We're trying to get into y'all dirt because we know y'all friends ain't nothing. Or maybe they are very great and you want to let us know how great they are around the holidays. And you don't really have a lot of money, so you just want to do a friendship. Shout out to them as a gift. Hit us up on our Gmail. Everything will be in the description box below. We're hoping to hear from you. If you cannot do anything with the Patreon and subscribe, one thing you can do to help us out, hit that like button. Follow us. Give us a rating. It's free. Let us know what you have to say on any platform that you're listening on. We would prefer 5 stars, but if you have less than 5 stars, let us know why. We would love to know why. So look for everything in the description box below, and we will see you next week.
Adios.